here's a trick question, and I'll explain why it's a trick question after we do it. We'll try doing it. So let's just start off. 2x squared plus 2x plus 1. Well, the x squared is first, so I can say that's a. The b is the one timesing the x, so that's b. A and b are both 2. That's handy. C is 1. Okay, so this should be easy. It's not easy. I'll show you why. X equals negative b is, well, b is 2, so it's negative 2. Plus or minus square root of b squared is 2 squared. 4 times a times c is 4 times a is 2 times 1 all over 2 times a, which is 2. Next step. Sure, you're thinking this is fine. We'll see. Maybe you've spotted the problem with this. Plus or minus. Well, 2 squared is 4, but 4 minus 8 over 4. And that's equal to minus 2 plus or minus square root of negative 4 over 4. Now, if you look at this negative 4 and alarm bells are not going off in your head, think again. Square root of negative 4, think about that. How can you do the square root of negative 4? I mean, you can do the square root of 4, that's equal to 2. But remember, square root, we're trying to find two numbers that equals the number inside the square. Sorry, we're trying to find a number when you times it by itself, it gets to the number inside the square root. So what number could that be? We know that 2 times 2 equals 4. And you might say, okay, that's fine. Well, this is a negative 4. What if the number is negative 2? But negative 2 times negative 2 equals 4 again. You're actually going to find anything that you square is going to be a positive number. So if you have a negative number in here, that's really bad. What that means is it's actually impossible. Now, this annoyed mathematicians so much that they made up a number. I'm not making this up. Honestly, they made up a type of number called an imaginary number to find the solution to this. But that's first year uni, and that's a little bit too complicated for us. This square root of negative 4 is impossible for us. Where there's no normal number that equals the square root of negative 4. So, this is impossible. It's not possible. Okay, so now we just did a lot of work. And I would much prefer that you didn't have to do all that work only to find at the end that it's actually the solution is impossible. And what you do is you work out this square root before you work out anything else. And this square root is called, what's in the square root is called the discriminant. B squared minus 4 times A times C is the discriminant. That's just the name for this. And it helps you discriminate or choose, that's what discriminate means, whether you think this has two solutions or no solutions. This one has no solutions because it's impossible. Or it's possible. Other quadratic equations actually have one solution. So it could have two solutions, like this one. This one had two solutions. Or it could have no solutions, like this one. Or it could have one solution. So let's use the discriminant firstly to find out how many solutions this particular example has. This is our last question. So let's see. Discriminant, Start off with discriminant equals b squared minus 4 times a times c. So b squared, what's our a? Okay, b in this case is 8, c is 16 because it's in the right order. A is actually 1 because when you have an x squared, that's just like a little 1 there. Wow, that was about as messy as the other one. All right, so b is 8, so I've got 8 squared minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is 16. That is, remember your times table, 64 minus 4 times 16 is actually 64 as well. Don't worry if you can't do that in your head, we've got calculators. Which is 0. So, what that means is, this is going to disappear, this part of it, because it's 0. So that the only part we have left is minus b over 2a. So, alright, so that's our x, the solution, is minus b plus or minus 0, because this whole thing inside the square root is 0, that's 0, divided by 2 times a, which is 2 times, just right, 2 times a over here, which is minus, what's b? B is 8. We're just going to ignore the 0. If you add or subtract 0, it's the same thing. Divided by 2 times a is 1, so divided by 2 times 1. Minus 8 divided by 2, which is minus 4. That's it, we've only got one solution. Okay, so hopefully in this video you have learnt what the quadratic formula is, how to use it, how to find a, b, and c and use it, and also how to use the discriminant to work out how many solutions there are. And just that last bit, let's just recap. For this one, the discriminant was this part of the brackets, wasn't it? So that's 9 minus 8, which is 1. Because it's a positive number, we have 2 solutions. So if it's a positive number, you can do the square root and you'll get plus or minus something, and there will be 2 solutions. Now it's possible you look at the discriminant and you work it out first and you realize that it's negative. If the discriminant is negative, stop there, don't waste your time. Because if it's negative, it's impossible, there's no solutions at all. And finally, if the discriminant is 0, that means the square root disappears and it's still possible, it's just that there's only one solution. Okay, so hopefully that all makes sense. Now, what I want you to do is, if you're happy with that, you can go away and do some questions, practice this. If you're still curious about this whole situation with discriminant and solutions, and if you're wondering what this actually looks like in terms of graphs, then watch the next video, which is going to be on solutions and graphs.